we are going to be finding properties suitable for high growth, high cash flow strategies. Now, a lot of people assume that they have to be complicated. A lot of people think you must go for complex in order to get high growth and high cash flow. I see a lot of new and emerging strategies, and there's nothing wrong with them. Right? There's a lot of exciting new developments in property that we've seen in recent years that develop high cash flow and possibly high growth as well. But there's also the basics. There's also the simple stuff that has been invested in for many, many years, which is all bunged into the same category or the same pot. Oh, yeah, it's just low cash flow. It doesn't really give you great growth. It's not true, right? No matter what commodity, what type of property you are investing in, there will be some that grow well and have high cash flow and some that don't grow well and have low cash flow. And we're going to unlock that during the course of this session. We're going to unlock and understand how to see that. Now, historically, that's been exceptionally difficult. You needed teams of people to churn through data and to do complex analysis in order to just get the most basic insight. That's a problem or a feature of our industry that has surprised, shocked, and amused many of us for many years. But it doesn't need to be that way anymore. I'm going to show you how you can overcome that. All right. So, what am I going to be talking about this afternoon? Let me just get into the simplify strategy. That's what we are talking about. Simplification. You could probably come to this thinking this is going to be complicated. I'm here to tell you that this is going to be simple. So hopefully that reassures you a little bit. We want, or I want, by the end of this session, for you to understand how to find high demand areas local to you. When I say local to you, what I actually mean is local to where you want to invest. So a lot of people think you've got to travel all over the country in order to get good deals. You don't. A lot of people think there's just a specific location that's working. It isn't. A lot of people think that everything is going to increase at the same rate. It doesn't, right? The most important thing that you can do as a property investor is understand and buy into a high demand market. That's true of property, but it's true of other things that you can invest in as well. If you buy at a point of high demand, you're probably going to make money. Now, the critical question you've got to ask is it the start of a high demand cycle or the end of a high demand cycle? If you're at the end, there's always the risk that it might fall back. If you're at the start, there's always the potential or the opportunity that it's going to continue for some time, and that's where you make your money. And we don't realize that in property. We just do really complex stuff. We go to art classes. We become planning experts. We become structural engineers. We do all really complex and difficult things when actually if we just took a step back for a moment and thought, right, let's just buy in an area that's got good demand at the moment, you could actually improve your financial position just by understanding that. And if you are going to do anything slightly more complicated, you will multiply up its effectiveness. It's like the gears on a bike. You can pedal really, really hard and make progress. But if you've got the right gears, so you can get into a higher gear, you've got less effort to put in to get you to go further. And if you've got a bit of a slope or an incline that you can go down, you can get a lot to speed up without much effort. And that's really what high demand brings to us. That's what we seek to do. Now, this second point, the high ROI gain property listings. What on earth do I mean by that? So I know a lot of you will be joining this session and you will have been trained or you'll have trained yourselves on how to buy a property, do something to it so that it makes more money, but also potentially to return some of that initial investment back to you, the return on your initial investment. Now, what people don't realize is that depending on where you invest, that ROI can be higher or easier to achieve, or lower or more difficult to achieve. That's not because of how good you are at doing a refurbishment or how stylish your property is or how functional it is. It's a result of being or presenting the property that the market wants, where there is a premium that is available to you for the work that you are doing. So, for example, some people will do buy, refurbish, and refinance. So they will buy a property, they will do it up, and then they'll try and get refinance on it, right? And they do that quite blindly. They go into areas that they've been told are good or that someone suggested or are near to them, and they will buy and they will spend money on a refurbishment, and then they'll try and refinance, and they'll try and push the value upwards. And there's nothing wrong with that; that's correct. But they often do that in an area where the gap between a rundown or a tired property, something that people don't want, and a property that is of high demand and people really want to live in, is quite narrow. The difference in price is quite narrow. And in the property market, you'll find that in some locations that gap widens up and then it closes again. So you'll sometimes see an area that becomes really hip and people want to live for a particular type of property. People want to get in an area for some reason. Normally it's down to employment, but it can be other reasons. And what you'll tend to find is those properties that are ready to go, turnkey, looking good, people want to live in, will suddenly really increase in value. The bottom end of the market, the things that have got leaky roofs and magnolia walls everywhere, they don't grow. Takes them a while to catch back up. That gap, that suddenly open gap, is an area of opportunity. That's how you can get high ROI gain, and that's true of all strategies. If you're doing houses of multiple occupation, perhaps you're looking to have a larger property and separate out into self-contained rooms for people to live in, works there. If you're looking to do flats, if you're looking to do things like multi-unit blocks and commercial to residential work, same thing applies. High ROI gain property listings are an easy way for you to keep your money in your basically liquid, available for you to continue to invest. A lot of people run out of money, and then they are trained to then go and ask other people for money, and then they run out of that money as well, and then you just keep running out of money, and it's a never ending battle to raise finance. I'm sure some of you have felt this. Right now, there's nothing wrong with being able to do that. In fact, it's brilliant. It's a great skill to have, to be able to go and use other people's money to invest in property. But it's a whole different ball game when you can return those investments back more quickly, more confidently, more easily, and return money back to yourself. You should never be running out of cash because you're in high ROI property listings and high ROI gain property investments. And then the final bit, and I said this has got to be simple. The final part for me and for all of us right now is optimizing our time. I've been to several meetings recently, and I've got to be honest, the look and the body language on people is that of fatigue, tiredness. It's hard. It used to be easy. It used to be a lot easier. It's much harder now to invest in property. We're convinced that there are 20% money off deals everywhere. There aren't. We're convinced the property market was going to crash. 4 years since COVID now, hasn't crashed. I'm tired of hearing people say, wait for the crash. Forget all that. You've got to act now, but you've got to act in a really optimized way. All of us are busy. And in fact, I specialize some training programs for people who don't want to give up their jobs. They just continue to work, but they want a sideline in property. Right? If you want a sideline in property, you don't want to interfere with your life, with your family, with your friends, with your social life, and also your career. So I have some specialized training in that. But what we're going to be talking about on this session is about how you can optimize your sourcing, because that's probably the biggest burden outside of doing a refurbishment on a property. Your biggest burden in terms of time and effort is going to be finding properties, and you can make that really simple. Now, I know there's lots of proprietary software out there that offers you ability to search for properties, but what I would draw your attention back to is the importance of combining these three things: high demand, high potential gain, and then optimize your search. If you can get that done, then you should find that the finances are easier, that the sourcing is easier. You should find that the ability for the market to grow for you is easy. These are all things these are fundamentals. These are foundations of property, in my view. If you can't get these lined up, it's an incredibly difficult job in property. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say that I am the world's biggest property investor. I am not. I've got several dozen properties in my portfolio of different types. But I am not. I am not driving around in a £10 million Bugatti Veyron or anything silly like that. Okay, I'm a real person. I'm genuinely. I work hard, and I don't like to extend my working week too much, and I like time with my family and with my friends, and that's what I want in life. I want to get the maximum out of the work that I put in so that I can live to the maximum that's possible. I think that's true of all of us, if we're really honest. Now, what I'm going to take you through in a moment is the why is pretty important. I think what these are just two quotes that I really like, because this explains why you should do this. Now, the first one is by a chap called Christopher Hitchens, and it's what can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. Okay? So if people just tell you something works, you should dismiss it without having to test or question why you're dismissing it. There are many, many people in the property industry that will tell you a story, and it's probably grounded in some experience that they've had in the past, or it could be twisted or shifted to encourage you to do something. Right? You, as an investor, must always seek evidence. If you go to an estate agent, you ask them how the area is performing, that's a wasted question. What are they going to tell you? They're going to tell you what you need to hear, not what necessarily is actually happening. And more often than not, they don't know. Similar with many things. If you ask someone's opinion, you will get an opinion. It's not evidence. And there's a massive issue with this in the property industry. We all go to networking events and seminars, and we hear about someone who's done really well, and we feel this compulsion, this excitement to go and try and do the same thing, or maybe even add to it, make it a little bit better. Like what you've got to do is step back when you feel that pull, and you've got to absolutely be certain that there is evidence to prove or to demonstrate that what you are going to do is going to have some result. Now, the second thing, and that's really ties into the bit that we just talked about a moment ago, work is a necessary evil to be avoided. People feel real senses of satisfaction when they're working really hard. Yeah, we've all felt that. How hard am I working? This must work because I'm working so hard. That's dangerous. Yeah? Work is not a measure of result. Right? More often than not, you can reduce your work and be more efficient and get a better result. And that's really why the simplify strategy matters, because all these things should take work away from you, not add. So what I'm showing you this afternoon, it should make your life easier and give you more time back as a property investor, rather than having to put more time in, finding that extra hour, that extra 2 hours to do things. I don't want you to be doing that. I don't want any of you to be sat there in the evenings at your desk or on the sofa searching for properties. It's just not the way to be. You should not be driving around all over the country trying to find places to invest through the windscreen of your car or the window of an estate agent. That has to stop. Simplify. Now, what do I mean? What's the first step to doing this? The first step to doing this is to understand the relationship between different sets of information or different evidence in the property market. The first evidence, the first thing you are looking for is the turnover of stock. How much the demand is for property in an area and how much demand is in that area for a particular property type. So if you take somewhere like Manchester, not everywhere in Manchester is growing at the moment. Some parts of Manchester have fallen in value. And in some parts of Manchester, there are locations where some properties are doing very well and some properties are doing absolutely terribly. And I bet no one will know the answer unless they've got access to facts and data. Like they can guess, they could have a little guess, they could try and work it out, but they won't know. We know, you can work this out. If product is selling, if property is selling and it's selling well, we can see that in demand. That's the turnover of stock. So it goes, you've got a set amount of stock in across a postcode area. If a lot of it is selling, and that is a high turnover. If not a lot of it is selling, that is a low turnover. It's pretty simple when we think about it. But yet this data has not been published. It's not been readily available until very recently, until we created Ultimate Property Dashboard, where we track every single listing and we deduplicate them so that anywhere in the country you can look at the amount of stock that's available, split by property type, and you can work out how much of it is selling in a given period of time. And that's between 0 and 100%. So 100% everything sells out. That's going to be a really high demand area. 0, nothing's happening. Generally in the UK, we sell about 10% of what's available in any given month. Okay, so you're looking for anything sort of 20, 25, 30% turnover of stock is going to be doing well. The next thing that we can do in terms of our data analysis is rent asking prices. If rents are going up in an area, guess what happens to house prices? Selling prices. People forget that there's a relationship between the rental market and the sales market. In an area where rents are climbing very high, property values climb very high. In an area where rents are falling, property values fall. It's simple, but it's misunderstood and it's not used. So if you want to really understand how an area is performing, you want to know the demand for that area, and want to know that the rent market is improving as well. And then after that, you want to look at the selling prices. Now I know this is one I whenever I go and I get invited to talk, people question every time. They go, well, the selling price, what the agents are asking is not a true reflection of what properties are selling for. And you know what? That's true, right? All across the country, whatever properties are listed for, they will sell for a different price, right? Because we always negotiate them when we get better deals. We want money off. Agents change their prices. Here's the critical one. This is the killer. It's not the amount that properties are selling for. It's the amount by which that asking price is changing that matters. If you've got a confident market, the selling price is going up. If you've got a market that is not confident, where there are issues, the price will fall. Agents will reduce their prices in order to generate more turnover, that first measure. And agents will increase their prices when turnover is higher, right? Because they can't get enough stock. They can if they can afford to sell it for more, they will. Of course they will. That's their job. Now here's a critical fact. If you can measure the selling price change, the percentage difference, what you will actually get is a relationship between the selling price and the sold price. So if the selling price is going up, then the sold prices that are published by Land Registry and what are used to value your properties, particularly when you're doing a revaluation or you're coming off a bridging finance, whenever you get a revaluation, it's the sold price that is used to measure the price of your property. Now, in that 6 months between a property going to exchange and completing, going off to the Land Registry and then eventually being published, that 6 months gap, the market could move 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%. Wouldn't you rather buy now, knowing that your potential future valuation is going to be much higher? Think about that. Think about how much effort we have to go through to get an increase in a property's value. We do planning game, we do refurbishments, we do all these really complex things. Wouldn't it just be great if you could be in an area that's really hot at the moment, where the selling prices are climbing quickly or likely to climb very quickly, where the turnover of stock is really high? Wouldn't that be of use to you? Of course it would. Trust me on this. I've bought properties and I've refinanced them in 6, 12, 18, 24 months' time. And I've seen 10, 15, 20% increases in the value without doing anything. That's before I add value from a refurbishment. So you must grasp and understand the importance of these measures. These are the insights and the forecasts that you're able to do. Now, of course, the first thing that people say is, how on earth do you do that, John? Where do you get this data from? Well, the truth is, it's hard and it didn't exist until very recently when I created a company to do it for me. And you can have access to this as well. Here is a really simple chart which shows demand, rent, and asking price change. Right now, you can see 28% demand. So almost a third of all stock in that area is selling per month. That's high. Remember, the national average is 10. Right. So that's a really good performance. The rents are climbing, but albeit slowly, but asking prices are also climbing as well. That's really important. These measures enable me to understand what type of property and what specific part of a town or a county or an area I should be investing in. If these aren't looking good, you need to be questioning whether or not you should be investing in that area. If you've got no choice, you have to invest in this area, you need to be pricing or making your offers according to that demand. So in this area, it'd be pretty difficult to get money off, but I'd be pretty confident that the prices are going to go up. All right. So that's the demand is the percent of the total stock which is sold subject to contract in the month. All right. Complicated to work that measure out. Very complicated. It takes a huge amount of processing power to do the whole of the UK, but you can get that all the way down to postcode level. And then similarly, you've got the monthly movement for advertised value and rent. All right. So it's not this year versus last year, it's the monthly movement. Okay. So that's really powerful because you can see the trend where the market's going for a particular property type in a particular area. And then just to make your life just that little bit easier, this scale of red to green, that's basically tells me, is that a good performance for that location? So if this was Manchester, a postcode in Manchester, is that 28% good or bad compared to the rest of Manchester? And you can see that I've got a little blue arrow all the way over to the green, which tells me that is probably one of the best performances in that area. Now, at times of COVID, as we came out the first lockdown, demand was through the roof. So it was really hard to work out which areas really did have high demand. This is where this surrounding area slider really came into its own and helped lots of people to make lots of money very quickly. We knew those areas of high demand and we were able to capitalize on it. We weren't asking for money off. Well, we weren't having to get huge deals because the market worked really hard for us. And again, that's compared to similar property types and sizes in that region. All right. There's another measure as well. Let me just come back to where were we? This one here. There we go. So the high ROI gain property listings. So you want a good return on your investment. Yeah. You're going to buy a property, you're going to do some stuff to it, and you want it to increase in value. Now, people get confused by this. They just assume, well, if I do a really nice refurb, I'll add £60,000 onto the value of the property. No, not in lots of parts of the UK, in lots of areas, you absolutely don't. More often than not, the increase in value of the property is less than the cost of the refurbishment. Think about that for a moment. You buy a property, you spend money refurbishing it, and you try and revalue it, and it's not worth more than the cost of purchasing it and the refurbishment cost. That is a major, major challenge that I see many, many property investors, both old and new, encountering. They assume that what worked before or what someone else has done will work for them. And they don't do any form of analysis of the range of prices in an area. If you want a high ROI gain, of course, the previous slide that I showed you, high demand, good rent increases, good asking price increases will help. But you also need to have a wide gap between the bottom end of the market and the top end of the market. That's really statistically, that's hard to do. Why is it statistically hard to do? Because you'll always have the stuff that's listed for silly prices, guide prices going to auctions. It messes your data up. You can't get a good understanding of what the range is. But with products like Ultimate Property Dashboard, you can. Now, we show, again, in the same report, we show current price, not the sold price. So you know what the property market is today. And that gives you a really good indication of where the values are going to be in the future. All right. So we give you the current average asking price, and we give you the current rent as well for an average property in that area. Not all properties. We split it by bedrooms. You can't get that from Land Registry. They don't split it out by bedroom type, by bedroom sizes, and it's very hard to get that from many of the other reports that are available to us. We have that. So this in this example, I think this is a 3-bedroom property in an area. Okay, so you've got that. You've got an idea. Like the middle of the market's about 146, £147,000, and the rent's about £800 a month. Which means that if I bought an average price and got an average rent for it, I'd have a yield of 6.5%, which is probably going to be enough for me to get a mortgage, roughly. Okay. But the most important measure here is actually this top one here, the majority of properties. When you want to buy a high gain property, when you want to get good ROI on a property, the wider that gap, the easier it is to gain. Why? Because there'll be some locations where that gap might be 20 to £30,000. Most refurbs on a standard 3-bedroom house are going to cost you that. In this example here, the gap's £65,000. So if you buy something that needs a bit of work, you can push it up to roughly £175,000. Now, that's not the top of the market. Of course, in an area, you'll have beautiful properties that might sell for sometimes £100,000 more than that figure. The really nice things that you're never going to compete against. And you'll also have those absolute awful properties that you'd never want to buy. Or maybe you do, but you wouldn't want to use it for this type of comparison. The gap there, that's called the interquartile range. It's the range of potential increase, £65,000 in this example. That's a great example of an area where the demand is high, the rents are going up, the asking prices are going up, the yield is okay, it's pretty affordable, and there's a wide range of prices so that you can do a refurbishment and get some of that money back. Okay? Think about that from where else do you get this information? Most of us guess. Most people that I encounter, they guess. They don't know. And back to the point earlier, you've got to focus on the facts and the evidence, not on the opinions. Right? No one's going to bail you out if it all goes wrong in this industry. Right? No one's going to come running to your rescue. All the people that train you, people like me, people like the big celebrities, they won't come and rescue you if things go wrong. You've got to look after yourself. This is your insurance policy. This is your protection. Knowledge is your protection. Knowledge is that insurance policy when you're investing, particularly when it's your savings, when it's your pension, when it's someone else's money. Yeah? As people signing personal guarantees, putting their entire portfolio up as security. People spending their entire retirement fund, right? If you're not doing this type of analysis, you are putting huge amounts of risk into the system. Now, of course, many people get through it. They don't have to worry about it. Right? But wouldn't you want to have this insurance policy? And wouldn't you want to make more money? I know I would. Okay. The yields in the software are notional. All right. So notional is what we do. Now, when it comes to search optimizing, I personally, this is just something that I've had as a rule since I left corporate. I don't want to spend more than an hour a day sourcing properties. And in fact, if I can get away with it, an hour a week. Okay, so that I've moved from an hour a day to an hour a week. I bend that rule a little bit sometimes, but 1 hour sourcing strategy. And when I'm searching for properties, I'm not interested in just searching on Rightmove. Right, that's not good enough. So many estate agents don't list on all of the major portals. They'll pick one, normally Zoopla or Rightmove, and then they'll add on the market and a few others, a few of the smaller ones. Do them all, right? But do them all once. I also want to search for commercial to residential opportunities. I also want to search for commercial a lot of the time as well. I want a product and I want a tool that does all that for me. Right. I also want to search for specific strategies. I'm not more often than not. I'm only interested in a particular type of property in an area. So if it's very far away from me, I don't particularly like doing major refurbishments. If it's closer to home for me, I don't mind. I'll do a refurbishment. So your AI strategy search will find you what you want. Now I'm sure some of you will be looking for more advanced things like multi-unit blocks, shops that with uppers. You might be looking for existing HMOs or potential HMOs. You might be looking for plots, corner plots with land. Right, that's really complicated searching for that stuff. But the beauty of living in 2024 is you've got artificial intelligence that can do it for you. So I would encourage you all to set it up once and let the technology do that work, do the heavy lifting for you. That's what AI strategy search is all about. And then the final thing, the most important one, and when it comes to the 1 hour sourcing strategy, I just want one view. I don't want to be looking at multiple reports, going on multiple portals, having multiple software subscriptions, doing multiple things. Do it all in one place. And ideally, have that in an email or have that delivered online. Who doesn't want that? Who does not want that level of insight? And that's what I want to take you through now. That is all those things that I've just described there. They sound wonderful, right? And they sound, a lot of people say that can't be done. It can. In fact, it's existed for quite a bit of time. It's all available to you on Ultimate Property Dashboard, and I'm going to show you how to do it in a moment. But before I do, just as a reminder for everyone, if you want to try Ultimate Property Dashboard, if you like what you're about to see, you can try it for 14 days with no commitment to keep subscribing. All right, 14 days. You can cancel at any point in the 14 days, and you don't pay a penny. Right? Now, a lot of people get really concerned or worried when they have to put their card details in. Oh gosh, now I've signed up and it's supposed to be free, and I'm putting my card details in. You don't get charged for 14 days. So in those 14 days, if for any reason you don't want to use it, you want to delay, you're going to do it next month, whatever it might be, you can just go to the top right hand side of the screen and cancel your subscription or pause your subscription. All right. So you get 14 days to play about with it. So why wouldn't you? And then after those 14 days, you can subscribe. Now, when it comes to subscribing to UPD, Ultimate Property Dashboard, you have two options. Well, you've got many options, but the two main ones to point out right now are you can pay for an annual subscription or you can pay monthly for it. All right. So you don't need to go and find hundreds of pounds to invest in this type of technology and the things that I've just talked you through. I'm going to show you how to do it, and you can spend less than a couple of pounds a day doing so. It's much less than a couple of pounds a day, actually, because we're offering 50% off subscriptions to UPD at the moment. So if you're interested in that, if you're interested in trying it, the QR code is on the screen there, and also the URL which you need to use, upd.ai. You don't need the HTTPS bit. Just type upd.ai into your browser and you'll find us, or you can zap that QR code. And as I said, you can have 14 days for free if you haven't tried it before, and you get a 50% off offer at the moment. So you can get a gold subscription, which is what I'm going to show you now, for next to nothing. Okay, so I'll come back to that in a moment. Don't worry if you didn't quite capture that information. What next thing that I want to do is actually show you how to do some of this stuff. Oops, where were we? I'm sure I logged in. There we go. I did. Right. So this is Ultimate Property Dashboard. When you register for the first time, you will land on a screen that looks busy. All right, this is a busy looking screen. Don't worry, you've got to condition yourself to look at specific parts. First bit, with following my mouse here, on the left-hand side is navigation. They're all different features of UPD are contained on the left. Draw your attention straight away to help and resources. Okay, if you want to find out anything about how to use this software, go to help and resources, and you've got articles here and getting started guide, and you've got video content, video tutorials and resources that are available to you. You can also just search for particular thing. So if you want to know about HMOs, you can just search in the box for HMOs and it'll show you all of the videos and tutorials on things about HMOs. If you want to learn about, I don't know, area research, just do area, and it'll give you information about areas. So you very, very quickly you can get help. And also, if you're really stuck, you haven't got your answer, click on submit a ticket, put your details in and your message, and send it to us, and we'll respond. Or depending on your browser, normally this works on most browsers. There's a little blue tab at the bottom of the screen everywhere in UPD. Tap on that on your phone or on your computer screen, and you can again submit a message to us, and we'll try and help you as best we can. All right, so I just thought I'd show you that quickly first. Now, the next bit is across the top. We've got 4 steps. First step, understanding areas. Second step, generating leads. Third step, doing deal stacks or stacking deals. And then the fourth step, and I want all of us to get to this point, putting properties in to portfolio tracker. Now, you might already have properties, and if you have, brilliant, put them in. Put your properties in. It's a bit like a CRM system. It's not going to manage your tenancies, all right? So it's nothing like that. But things that are important to us as investors, such as when your mortgage is due for renewal, your insurances, any certificates in relation to the property, how the property is performing and what its current value is. Yeah, when you're coming up to the end of a mortgage product, you might want to take a little bit more money out of the property. You might want to have some additional funds from the mortgage. Use the portfolio tracker to understand that. All right. But for us, for this session, we're going to be really focused on step 1 and step 2, because that's how we get our deals, our leads. Okay. So the first thing that we can do is we can click on step 1. All right. So you can click anywhere on these screens and it'll take you to whatever you're looking at, or you can use the navigation on the left-hand side. So we're going to take the first step. We're going to go to area research. Now, as you can see there at the moment, I've already put an area in. I've got M3, and you can see there what the performance is in that area. So we've got a bit of red, so it's below 20% demand. We've got a lot of rents falling, not good. And we've got a lot of asking prices falling, not good. Right? That's people tell me Manchester or the Northwest is a great area to invest, but in this example, it's not. And you can see what's been happening with demand. It's been very low for quite some time, but it has started to pick up a little bit in April, which is a positive, I suppose. And you can see it's quite pricey, and the yield is there, and also the range of prices. This is specifically looking at apartments. Now, isn't that great? Isn't that useful? Yes. Yes, it's useful because I know that this is going to be a difficult area for me to invest in and get momentum. Okay, I'm sorry if any of you invest in that area, and I'm sure it will change pretty soon. All right, there'll be a time when it comes again, but it's probably had its moment, this area. But then, should we write off Manchester? Should we not invest in much? Should we move across to Liverpool, or should we go across to Leeds, somewhere else? No, no, of course we shouldn't. We need to understand the whole area. So we're really looking for good demand, good asking rent, and good asking price. That's what we're trying to find. Now you've got a few options. You can put all of the postcodes in. If you just click on add a new area and you type M, you can put as many postcodes in as you like. We'll put a couple more in. We put M4, M5, and M6 in and add them to this report. Wait for it to load. It's a fair bit of data there, add them free. Like I said at the start of this session, I guarantee something will go wrong. There's always challenges. Probably my computer trying to do too many things. There we go. It's going through now. As is always the way. There we go. Area research. There we are. Oof. Stress over. Okay, so we've got our postcodes in now. Okay, so it's loaded details about those areas. And now we can see for M6, we've got some really good demand there. And we got 39%. That's specifically for 3-bedroom properties. But the asking prices are down a bit and the asking rents are negative. So that's interesting. So we've got an indicator of possibly a change in that market, a market that's possibly about to shift. Now, if we're not sure, if we want to check some details, we can look at what the prices have been doing. So there you go. You can see the prices climbed really high And then at the start of the year, they fell and they fell and they fell. Now, question for us all, is that about to reverse? With demand, with turnover up 39%, I would say yes. So immediately I get an insight into what's going on in that area. Plus the rental market seems reasonable. It's marginal. It's about zero. -1 is not really too much to worry about. So I've got insights into that area. I've also got M5. You can see, look, not everything's doing well in that area, but we've got some reasonable demand on 3 bedroom properties, and the rents are going up a little bit as well. But we've still got falling asking prices, and this is true of a lot of parts of the UK right now. Okay, so and then obviously we've got M4 there as well. I think they're pretty close to the city centre, those ones. All right, so again, I'm getting information. I've just manually put in some postcodes, but I can't be bothered putting every postcode in. It's too much hard work. What I can do is I can either do it in a table by clicking on Find New Area, or even better than that, I can just go to a heat map. I love heat maps. This is such a great way of finding opportunity. Right, so let's focus in. Let's go to the northwest because that's where Manchester is. Let's go zooming in. Let's start our search. I'm looking for 2 bedroom properties. So I'll apply 2 bedroom properties in that area. Now you'll see that the areas are coloured from yellow, which is lower demand, to red, which is higher demand. Okay, so it's dynamic. So it's based on how the whole area is performing. All right. So don't get me wrong, yellow, 25% turnover. So that's not bad. All right, that's not bad at all. Okay, but there are better locations. There are other locations that you can go to. And again, we can zoom in on this by pinching on our phones or by just sort of clicking on the plus and minus on the screen there. So immediately, look, Manchester isn't bad. Look, there's loads of demand in Manchester. What is John talking about in that previous example? I wasn't looking wide enough. I wasn't looking at a wide enough range of area, wide enough range of data. So I'm going to zoom in on M. And now you look at this. Now we get an interesting. So that all this area is quite hot, but there are different locations all over the area where I could potentially invest in 2 bedroom properties. Now, I'm not really too fussed on being in the centre. I guess it's going to be a bit expensive. Let me just check to see how expensive it is. I'm going to go to area report preview and just tap on it. And away it goes, and it'll get me information about that area. Did say I'd have a few gremlins in the system today, didn't I? There we go. So there we go. So I've got information about the area, got a little map showing where it is. And again, I can scroll down and I can see the prices and all the range of prices. So you can see in that area, it's £250,000 for a 2-bed house. That's really not going to work for me on my buy-to-lets. Okay. So that's not for me. But what about this little location up here? Where were we? This one here. All right, so we've got a location up here. You can see it's just on the outskirts there. It's M46, 64% turnover of stock or demand. Fabulous. Let's do an area report preview. All right, so there we go. So this is much more like it for me. You can see their prices starting at 90,000, rising up to around about 180. I can see what the average price is in that area. I can see, look at the yield, 7.8%. Fantastic. Reasonable household income. I can see how the demand has gradually been climbing since August last year. I can even see what's been happening with prices. Now, look at this. This is phenomenal. Look, the prices have been falling, but very shallow fall. All right. They're bound to go up with demand like that. Plus, the rental market has been climbing dramatically. So yields have been going up. The rents have been going up. That area is probably coming off the back of a fall and is about to grow and grow quickly. So if you're looking for one of those areas that's likely to give you a good ROI, it's ticking the first box because there's potential for it to grow. Now, one thing to draw your attention to is the majority of properties. Look, there's only about £15,000 between the bottom and the top of the market. Right, so £25,000 will get my arithmetic right. So it's not huge, right? So you're going to need to get some good money off in this area. So you're going to still need to be pushing your prices or your offers down, but there is potential in this area. Okay. So very quickly, I've been able to appraise the M postcodes and find myself a little area of opportunity. So if I like that area, if that works for me, I click on add to area research and it does exactly the same thing that we saw a moment ago. It pulls it into our area research report. And you can see I now have M46 in the data. Now, not only have I got M46 in the data, I also have the ability to get reports, information, and critically, I can get leads at this point. So if I want to do a deep dive on the data, much like we saw a moment ago on the screen, I can create a report just by clicking on area report. People often say, but there's good and bad parts of town, John. It's really hard to work out where's good and where's bad. Well, not here, it's not, because I can see where the cheaper properties are. These blue dots are cheap properties. The green dots are sort of average priced properties. And the yellow and red dots are the more expensive properties. So I can see where things are more expensive. 150, 145, 159. And I can also see the streets where properties are a bit cheaper, 90,000, 100,000. So not only do I know that this area is good, but I can also really focus in on areas. Now, what you really want is to have a cluster of red dots or yellow dots and then the odd blue one just mixed in with them. That's where you've got a cheap property in a more expensive part of the neighborhood. There are I try and hunt down myself, right? But you can do again. You can use this report to analyze the market super quick. And if you want to have a look at what a £100,000 property looks like, you can just click on the image, and it'll take you to the listing, whatever it is, and you can see exactly what that type of property looks like inside. Okay, so no need to do any clever search. It doesn't matter where it's advertised; it'll find which portal it's on. You've also got all these lovely charts now. This is a great way to negotiate with estate agents. They'll tell you, oh, it's worth 130,000, but you can say, well, no, I'm going to say, majority of properties between 120 and 150, and this isn't a great property. It's not in great condition, so I should be down at about 120, 119, 120 based upon the data. Remember, it's really hard to negotiate with someone when the other person has more facts and more evidence than you. No one will have this data to hand. Trust me on this, no one will have it. All right. So if you've got it in your hands, if you print this off or have it loaded on your screen, or you've downloaded it to your phone because you can PDF this report and save it, and you use this to negotiate, you will certainly get a better situation in your negotiation, and you'll probably find it's easier to ask for money off. Similarly, we've also got the sold prices. So I said they're not that important, but if the gap between the properties for sale and the properties that have sold is quite wide, then you can say, well, hang on a second, on average, properties are selling for £10,000 less than the asking price in this area. This is not one of those examples, sadly. Most properties are selling for what they are advertised for. Right? The average selling price is 131, and the average sold price is 129. Think about that for a moment. All right, think about that for a moment. There are no discounts in this area. So would it be wise of us to go wading in trying to get enormous amounts of money off properties? Probably not. Not without some evidence and data to hand. And you can be selective over the data and the evidence that you provide. And again, there you've got like lots of nice graphs, so you can really shock people with the amount of research that you've done. And particularly if you're sourcing properties or you've got JV partners, it's a great way to show that you've done your due diligence on an area. All right. But that's fine. That's great. We can find that area. We've identified a location where there's high potential. We've identified something that a particular part of that location that we want to invest in. We've done a bit of due diligence on it. But what about finding properties? And that's probably what we're all here for. This is recorded. This will be on YouTube. You'll be able to watch a playback if you want to. You can see exactly how quickly I've just appraised an area. And that's the same for any area in the UK. All right. But actually, the next step, the thing that we want to be able to do is to find properties. All right. Let's find some properties that we would like to invest in. Now, there's many ways you can do this on this software. Right. Obviously, there's one here. Look, we can click on these little dots, which are property listings, and view them. Just tap on them and look at them. But we can be a bit smarter than that. Let's go back to the area research tab again. And there's our M46. And you can see I've got some AI generated leads here, this button here, which will take me away and it'll look for any properties that match common types of strategies or ways of purchasing properties that people like us look for. So we tend to look for stuff that needs a refurbishment. Yeah. So our AI has found one listed in the last 30 days that matches that. We like reduced price properties. The AI has found that. Stuff that's listed advertised for quick sale. The AI has found that. All you've got to do is tap or click on any of these numbers, and it'll go away and it will give you that shortlist. Right? It might take a bit of time because my computer's working super hard at the moment to stream across all these portals, but it will go away and it will find these potential quicker sale properties for you, and it'll deliver them to you. All right, so there you go. You can see straight away these are listed for a quick sale. They look very nice, don't they? But they're listed for quick sale. So if there's a description and it's been reduced, or if it matches a particular criteria, it will be listed as for quick sale. All right. So that's a quick and a easy way of finding potential properties. So we go back to area research again. That's AI generated leads. But maybe your requirements are more specific. You've got more things that you want to be looking for. So at the moment, the software is set to 2 bedroom properties because that's where the demand is in M46, and it's just looking for houses. Okay. So I'm going to click on this one, find properties. So now I get all 18 properties that are listed in this area. How much easier is that? This is not dependent on just one portal or another. This is all the portals. You can see just at the bottom right hand side of each one of these, you've got the Zoopla, Rightmove down here on the market. So you've got plenty of potential leads in this area. Now, if you like that search and you want this, maybe you only want to have houses, so we can go to filters and we can select the lead type that we're after. So the property type we're after, and you see it's just defaulted to houses. Now you might say, oh, I'll look for flats as well. Why not? So we'll pull flats in as well. And we'll put a budget in. We don't want to be spending more than 120. We don't want any properties listed for more than 130,000. All right. So we don't want to go for the top end of the market. And we can click on apply. And that should get our list down. Actually, it doesn't really make much of a difference because there aren't many flats there. And the price, they're all priced under 130,000. Okay. So very quickly we're able to filter. We can also look on a map. We can do a table. We can do all sorts of cool stuff for this. Okay, to understand where properties are listed and what they're listed for. All right, but yeah, I don't want to ever do this again. Remember earlier on, I said I do not want to be wasting time. I want to do something once and forget about it. Right. There's a couple of ways in which we can do this. First thing is, why don't we set that search to run every day until we tell it to stop? Exactly as I've just done there, like a filter, like a saved search. So we click on save filter and we give it a name. We call it M46 2-bed. All right. And we'll submit that. Now that is saved. Okay. That's great. Those properties are there. They'll be updated every single day. Whenever there's a new listing that matches the criteria, they will be added to my leads. What does that mean for us? Well, the next time you log into Ultimate Property Dashboard, you'll see on the right-hand side, we've got some leads. Look, M46 2-bedroom. This defaults to 10 days. So any new leads in the last 10 days are listed. There they are. These are the properties that have been listed in the last 10 days across all portals that match my criteria. Now, not only does it give me a short list, but it also gives me the ability to enable notifications. So once a day at lunchtime, comes out about 12, you'll get a notification of any new listings that match your search criteria. Brilliant. So I never have to search an M46 for properties ever again. Software looks for them for me. Now think about that for a moment. I've done the appraisal. I've looked at an area. I've understood where there's potential in an area. I'm able to search for properties. But what about if we want to do some more complex stuff in this area? Let's assume some of you quite like to do a more complex type of search, the more complex type of property. Let's imagine you're looking for, I don't know, it's become multi-unit blocks. Right? People think that they're really hard to find. They're not really hard to find. They're really easy to find. Property search. Okay, I'm just going to do this manually, so I'm not going to go through the area process and search properties. I'm just going to go directly to property search, and I'm going to put a postcode in. I'll put in SA1, I think. It's close to me. All right, so I'll put in SA1 as the postcode. I am looking within 10 miles of SA1, and I'm searching for on-market property, basically on-market properties. All right, but let's go a bit further. Let's put some specifics in. Lead type. What are you looking for, John? John, you are looking for multi-unit blocks of flats. Yeah? People say they're really hard to find. Okay. Hopefully I better find some, wouldn't I? Maybe I won't find any in Swansea. We shall see. So I'm selecting SA1. I'm doing 10 miles and I'll do a search. Are there any multi-unit blocks in the SA1 area? And that is an enormous area. I'm taking in a 10-mile radius of a whole city, and I am searching every single listing that is posted. Okay. And what my AI is doing is it's reading every single listing, every single description, and it's trying to work out, are they multi-unit blocks or are they not? And that's a very complex search. Think about the amount of power that's required to check every single one of those listings. There's no direct feed from the portals to do this. You've actually got to read every listing on the portal to search for that specific information. Now, in doing so, what you're able to do is create or compile a short list of potential leads, a short list of potential properties. Now, that short list of potential properties can be added to your dashboard. So exactly as we just saw with the previous example where we were looking specifically for 2-bedroom properties in an area, what we've now got is we've got those properties that are multi-unit blocks in the area. Okay, now wouldn't it be great if we could put those together? Well, first of all, let's just remind ourselves of what we got here. Right. So I said we're looking for blocks of flats, yeah. So these are blocks of flats where there's multiple units for sale. Okay. You can see some of them are just listed as flats, some of them will be listed as shops, some of them are listed as blocks, some of them are listed as blocks of apartments. But as you can see there, we've got examples of blocks of flats. Now, this is not a big high density, high population area of the UK, and yet it's still finding out of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of listings, places where there are blocks or multiple units within a building. All right. And just to prove the point, you can any one of these, you can click on it, this bottom one here, and you'll see there that's listed in a town not too far from me. It's listed as a block of apartments. That's handy. It's on with purple bricks, and yeah, it's got many. There we are. It's got 8 bedrooms, but you can see from the floor plan there, it's quite a big old beast. It's definitely meets the grade, matches the criteria. Similar here, we've got a little shop. I'm sure it's been taken off the market, bless it, but it's still there. Look, 5-bedroom block of apartments. That's just a bit of a nondescript way of describing it, isn't it? But again, it's a shop with uppers. Okay, so very quickly you can find more complex things. People say it's really hard to find HMOs. So again, same process. Go to a different part of the UK. Let's go to the Liverpool area. Let's do L4, shall we? We'll do that, and we'll do a decent radius around that. This time we'll do 5 to try and get our results more quickly, and we'll go for property type. We'll go for HMOs this time, okay? And then we'll run our report. So again, using the power of AI, this is going to be all sorts of properties, not just those that are listed as house shares or HMOs, but every different way you can think of to describe an HMO. The software will search for things like student accommodation, things like bed sits, all of the different terms. We don't even bother putting the information anymore. Our artificial intelligence looks for keywords and phrases, and it even looks at imagery to work out if properties are HMOs or are potential HMOs or have been historically HMOs. Okay, so I know a lot of us do landlord letters and we try and engage direct to vendor, but that's a very, very small part of the market. Quite often there's an awful lot of stuff that's out there on the portals that is listed that we miss. Right. And if you really want to be good at property investing, one thing that you're absolutely going to learn, I'm sure many of you already have, is you've got to do the whole of the market. You've got to make sure you're on top of that procurement, on top of those listings, and they're hitting your desk, they're hitting your screen, they're hitting your phone before they hit anyone else's. You're always the first in to book a viewing, and you're always the first in to put an offer. All right. So using technology like this will enable you to do exactly that. And bear in mind, we're searching through tens of thousands of listings at the moment, all deduplicated. Everything that is every bit of text that's related to the listing is being searched and checked, and then it's being verified to make sure that we've got information that is relevant and that is correct and shows us exactly what we're looking for. This is an enormous search, so this will take a little bit of time. But while it's doing this thing, let me just draw attention to a couple of things. We've done 3 different searches right now. Right, those 3 different searches, they could be 33 different searches. You can put as many in as you like. You can be as bold as you want. You can put your budget in. You can look for stuff that's been on the market for a very long time and hasn't sold. You can look for properties that have both been listed for sale and for rent, motivated seller. Do all those things using this functionality. Now, again, that took about 30 seconds or so, but we've searched probably about 20,000 listings there for our HMOs. And you can see there we've got properties that are HMOs. Okay, so we've got our HMO listings. And critically, amongst all of this, we can shortlist. So if you like the look of particular properties, you can add them to a shortlist. So, that's a bit expensive, 500, but maybe 300,000. You can see I've got this option. I want this little heart. I'll put it in a shortlist. All right. And I quite like the look of this one a bit further down. 220. What a bargain. Get that in the shortlist. Okay. So click on the little heart and it goes into my shortlist. Same here, 250,000 shortlist. Right, you might say, do you know what? I don't want any small HMOs. I only want the ones with at least a certain amount of bedrooms. I just want those with 5 or more bedrooms. Put that in as a filter. All right, so now we get down to 28 properties. Okay, brilliant. Save it. We save that search. HMO, Liverpool. Remember, that's saved. Every time a new listing comes up, it will be added to this list. Every day it's checked, every day. If it matches those criteria, rather than you waiting for it to filter through, it'll just automatically add it in the background. That means that when you log into the software in the morning, not only have you got, or the afternoon, or whatever you want to log in, not only have you got your HMO, not only have you got Manchester, but you've also got your HMOs as well. And it merges them all into one report. So again, if you look at your leads, we've now got all of them. They've got the Manchester and the Liverpool properties mixed together for a shortlist. And again, if you just say, I just want to see my HMOs, just click on the HMOs and you can see them. If you just want to see your 2-bedroom properties, you can see those as well. Again, because my email is enabled, every single day I will get an email notification telling me how many listings there are. If there are no listings, you don't get an email. Right? So you don't even need to look. You can just take the whole day off. Right? If you do get listings that match, they will be in this short list. And again, if you want to look at any of these, you just click on them and it takes you straight to wherever it's advertised. Okay, super quick, super fast, super easy. Don't spend any more time searching for properties. Get the technology to do it for you. Now, another one that people get upset about is it's really hard to get information about commercial property. So commercial property, yeah, I agree. Commercial property is quite difficult to find, but not using this technology. So again, we'll stick with somewhere a bit close to home for me. So I'm going to do Swansea again. I'll do a reasonably sized radius. But look at this. If I go to search tab, you can see I've got rental, so I can do rent to rent searches. I've got off market, so I can find properties that are not listed on the portals. We do advertise, we do give a function for people to list their own properties on here, separate part of our business, but people do list their off market properties, particularly landlords looking to sell. They do list off market listings, it's always worth a check. And we've got commercial. Now, people say, oh, commercial, it's so hard to find. I've got to pay £500 a month for some software to search for commercial property. No, you don't. Click on that. We're going to search for commercial for sale within 10 miles. And actually, we're going to filter, okay? This time, we're looking for stuff that we could put in this example, okay? There's many others, but I'm going to look for stuff that I could typically turn into residential. So I can do title splits, I can go up above them, that sort of stuff, the things that people like to do. There's also leisure. So if you're into SA, there's that sort of stuff. Land, if you want to do development. But I'm just going to give a simple example here. I'm just going to go for shops because shops are great. Yeah, you can do stuff with shops and office space because quite often you can convert offices as well, can't you? So let's just focus our search in there. And I can pay up to, I don't know, what should we say? Should we say 500,000? Should we just try and cut out all the big stuff and run a search? Now, again, I'm streaming this on multiple channels. It was quick that time because I've already warmed it up. But it'll probably take about 20 seconds for you to get those types of results back. But again, there you go, 17 properties that match those that might match that sort of strategy, that sort of search. Okay, so shop with potential to go above it, shop with uppers. That's not good. I mean, maybe, but I don't know about converting that into a residential little garage. But you've got an office there with potential for uppers as well. More offices, lots and lots of opportunities. And again, if you like any of these, if you like this particular property here, you can shortlist it. And you can add it to, my mouse move around. I can add that to commercial prospects as well. Okay. So again, if you like that search, save it. And that can be my commercial I'll just do com to Resi, Swansea, submit. So that's it now. If I like those areas, if they are my target areas, I don't have to do anything further when it comes to searching for properties. And I want you to take a moment just to think about how much time that is going to save you. You can stack 50 different searches in here if you want to, stack them all up. Think about how much time that will save you in searching. All right. You can be even more specific when it comes to property searches. Some of you like to do buy, refurb, refinance. Yeah. So show you that again now. So let's pick a different part of the UK. Let's go to Cardiff or the Valleys, something like that. So we go to CF42, which is just on the outskirts of Cardiff. There we go. Do a bit of a radius, and let's really play about with this. Let's look at specific leads. I want everything that needs a refurbishment, properties that are cash only, properties that are quick sale. I'll leave the auction stuff out because you end up with loads. Properties that have been reduced, motivated seller. Properties with planning gain, yes, please. Properties where the sale has fallen through, come back on the market. Properties where they're trying to sell it with a tenant in it, they're really hard to sell. Yeah. Properties that have been repossessed, yes, please. Yeah. Properties that have got potential for development, yeah, why not? We'll throw that in as well. Uh, I don't want anything. I only want houses in this area. I only want between 2 and 3 bedrooms, and I don't want to be paying more than £140,000. But let's go a bit further. Let's look at the specific property types. What am I after? All property types, but I'm going to untick some of them. Let's see what don't I want. I'm not going for bungalows. I'm not going for detached houses, and I'm not going for flats. I don't really want HMOs. Don't mind service accommodation, and I don't mind looking at some multi-unit block stuff. And I'll run my search. So again, this could be your buy, refurb, refinance strategy. You're just specifically looking for properties that are tired, yeah? So properties that are tired and properties that got motivated sellers. All right, so here's a great one here. Look, needing refurbishment, bottom right hand side, £95,000. Does it need a refurbishment? Let's check the pictures. Yep, sure does. Exactly the type of thing that we look for buy, refurb, and refinance. Yeah, sat there on the open market right now at £95,000. All right. So people say it's hard to find deals, hard to stack deals, hard to find things that would work. That will definitely be something that you could do, add some value to. I mean, there's cheap stuff, £60,000 with a tenant in it. That'll never ever sell. It's been on the market for one day, £60,000, folks. Yeah. With a tenant in it. So you get cash flow from day one, and you can do the refurb. You can manage that tenancy and do things. There's plenty of opportunity out there. So again, I can save that as a filter, and that can be my BRR, uh, uh, South Wales values. All right, and I save that as well. Think about the amount of leads I'm going to generate from this now. Right, let's just go back to dashboard and think about and actually look at that for a moment. So we have those leads in the last 10 days, 52 potential properties. That shouldn't take you much more than an hour to get through. If you're doing it daily, it should take you a couple of minutes. You click on the leads, you've got your short list, and that short list, we can look at just stuff that's come on the market today. All right, so we click on the last 24 hours, and that'll just give us the properties that have come on the market in the last 24 hours. So when people, think about what I've done, all of my Manchester analysis, all of my commercial to resi, and all of my commercial analysis, all my HMOs, all my valleys properties, all in one place, and also get an email to me. So that's the type of email that I would get today had I set that up as a potential email lead. Okay, right, folks. Let's move on now. When I said about simplification, I really meant it. You need to have a pipeline of properties that you've made offers on. Right? You need to understand those properties that you are making offers on, and you need to be able to stack them up. All right. So again, you can go off and use your own software, have your own spreadsheets if you want, but why not just make it nice and simple and do it here? And so we just looked at a property just then, and where's it gone? I went onto my screen there. Sorry, folks, bring my screen back. No, wrong one. This one. There we are. So rather than looking specifically for a deal, I'll just pick one out of the short list that we've got here. Where's it gone? £95,000. That'll do us. So let's stack that deal. Right. Let's not go off and do spreadsheets and do complexity or put it off till later. Just click on the little icon on the top right hand side and stick it in your short list of properties. Now, it's going to take all the information about that property you can get. You might need to just guess the address. Sometimes it picks it up, more often than not, it doesn't, but it'll give you a rough idea. If you're not sure, just pick one and then change it once you find out the address, which you can get from the estate agent. All right, so there we go. So we've saved it. So that's saved now. I never have to worry about that ever again. All right, it's saved. It's in my concertina folder of potential properties. Now, there's lots that you can do with a property. And again, we're trying to save ourselves time. The first thing is, what's the market doing in that area? Again, just go to market insights and you can see, there we go, lovely. It's okay. Demand is okay. Rents are about zero. Asking prices are climbing. So it's not a bad location. Quite a wide range of property values for 3-bedroom properties in that area. And then you can see stuff that's sold recently in that area as well. I'm not going to go through all that detail just yet. If you like price per square foot and the EPC rating, you can do that here. Get the EPC. I'm just going to pick a random one, all right? Because I don't know which property it is, and add it, and then I get the price per square meter, and I get the EPC ratings for it as well. All right. Brilliant. Very quick. No messing around, no going to different portals, no doing everything. It's all in one place. All right. I might decide to make an offer on the property. All right. So I can go to offers and I can see what offers that I may have made on this property. Now, I'm going to scroll back to strategies. This is really quite exciting, right? If you want to do a strategy on this property, select it, right? Buy to let, HMO, flip, buy, refurbish and refinance, rent to SA, rent to rent if it's an HMO, or normal rent to rent, buy to serviced accommodation, and below buy, refurbish, refinance, but for an HMO. All the most common strategies are there. Okay, I know there are more complex ones, but these are the common ones that are here. So for someone like this, I would probably buy it, I would refurbish it, and I'd refinance it. So I can call this, I can give each strategy a name. I'm just going to call it JP1 BRR. I'm going to buy it for 90,000. It'll take me 3 months to tidy it up, and I'm hoping it's going to be worth 145 when I'm done. And it should rent for 900. And you can see it's automatically saying this is my cash flow. This is my rent coverage for the mortgage, so I'm all right for a mortgage. And then I've got some statistics here. I've got money left in, so that's how much money I would leave in on this deal if I was to refurbish it, and how much I would take out if I was to then sell it on. So how much profit I've made on the deal. All right. But these are all based on default numbers, which you can set yourself. So I put in percentage interest rates, deposits, solicitors' fees, etc. Probably the most common one that gets changed is the refurbishment. That would probably be a light refurbishment. So I'm going to be quite bold and say I'll do it for £12,000. I wish. Maybe I could in this example. All right. And then I'll save it. And the software goes away and it puts that strategy against this property. You can see there. Now, look, you've got some key insights into this. Funds out, money left in, none. All right, infinite return on your capital employed. You get it all back. Now, if you want to report, you want to show it to your JV partner or to your mortgage broker or just for yourself, for your own good housekeeping. It's all saved on here. It's all safe. But you can also look at this report and you can download it as well, so that you can then print it. All right. Now you can see I kind of like that. That looks good. I know it's a bit imaginary, but that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to need £38,000 to buy it and to pay for the refurbishment. So that's the amount of funds that I require in order to get this deal done. So I might need to go to JV partners or raise capital or check out what cash I've got on hand to do that. And then I'm going to refinance it, and I'm going to refinance it at 75% loan to value, which would actually generate me some cash in this example. So I get all my money out plus £2,000. Yay, fabulous. So again, you can see just up on the right-hand side, you got all the different details. There is no money left in on this deal. So I'm going to make a note to call that estate agent. So I'm going to offer them £90,000 and I'm going to save that offer. All right. Right. So I now know what I'm doing. You can see there. I can also schedule a follow-up. Remember, simplify, make it simple. So I'm going to check on offer, and I'm going to do that I'm going to do that on Monday. See where we're at. Okay, simple. This is a process that I and many other people, there are hundreds of people that use this technology, but sadly, only probably about 4 or 5 dozen actually do this properly. I want you to be one of those who does it properly. Put all of the potential properties that you might buy into this process. Right, the estate agent phones you up. You're out in Tesco doing your shopping. Right, you're not able to pull up the detail quickly and easily unless you've got UPD, because you just go on your phone, you go to Deal Stacker, you look at your offers. Oh gosh, what was I doing with that one? Let me have a look. Let me just check my strategy. So again, I can do this all on my phone. Look at what the deal was. Now, Mr. Penquet, I'm afraid your offer has been rejected. Um, would you like to put in another offer? Of course I would, but I haven't got time because I'm in Tesco on aisle 15. Well, I can, because all I need to do is click on the record offer button, and I can put in 95,000, and you can see the information dynamically changes what money I need to buy it, what sort of return on capital employed I'm going to get. £2,000 left in if I offer 95,000. Okay, maybe I'll go a bit bold. Maybe I'll say, look, I'll increase my offer 2,500. Right, I'm only leaving £58 in on that deal. Whoops, passed it. That was silly, wasn't it? There we got £58 in on that deal. I'll save that offer. Right, so I've now got 2 offers. Obviously, this one has been rejected, so we'll change that to declined. So I've got a history of this property now. Now, let's imagine at some point let's imagine they don't accept that 92 and a half offer, and I don't want to add any more in, and it goes away. But then in 3, 4 months' time, I get a call from the estate agent, and they say, John, do you remember that property you looked at? Which one was that? The one on Glamorgan Street in Aberdeen? Probably, yeah, it rings a bell. Would you like to make another offer on it? The deal has fallen through. More often not, people say, I'll come back to you, or I'll need to go and check, or let me have a think about it, and all that sort of stuff. Quite often, you just don't remember. You log onto the software, you search for Glamorgan, there it is, and I can view it. And again, I'm doing this on my phone, not on my laptop, and I can see what offers I put in 6 months ago. And I can also see strategically what I was looking to do with it. And I can even look at current market conditions in set while I'm on aisle 15 in Tesco. And that's the difference between being effective and efficient and having a simple strategy, and being inefficient and finding things difficult and guessing and doing too much work. Bear in mind that I have only been on this session. We've only been on this session for just over an hour. Right? I've done market research. I've done due diligence. I've done whole of market. I have done different strategies, including commercial and complex investment strategies. I've set up a sourcing list, an automation using artificial intelligence to find all of my leads. I've set up an email notification campaign, so I'll be notified if any potential properties are listed as soon as they are listed. So I don't have to, I'm not a week late. Also, and on that point, actually, just for a moment, if we go back to the dashboard, many of you might know this, many of you might not. Some of the portals, they list properties before they have a rule where, or they do a deal with an estate agent where if you list it exclusively on a portal, like Rightmove, Zoopla on the market, if you are exclusive on one of the portals before you list it on the others, they give you an incentive. They give you a cash incentive. All right. So if you're only looking on one portal, but it's already been listed for a week on another portal, you're probably going to miss out on the deal. You've got to do the whole of the market. Again, the technology does that for you. It does whole market, does every listing, every portal for every listing. So you should never, ever be second, third, fourth in the list. The estate agents will get to know you because you will be phoning them every time they list something that's a potential investment. You get a reputation. Now, and that reputation helps because then they start phoning you before they list things. Okay, so using this technology will increase your engagement, increase your effectiveness with estate agents. All right, so don't miss sight of the importance of that. And again, I talked about an hour. I've got 17 properties in those 4 areas that I need to look at and appraise today. That's not going to take me more than an hour. If I sat here in the evening and tried to do what I've just shown you manually, I would be sat here for hours. Plus, you've got the insights into the market and what's happening next. So I'm hoping that gives you a taster of what is possible and how you should use technology and data to improve your financial position in property. I'm going to quickly just go back and just remind us again of what I'm talking about here. So apologies for my lack of profession in reversing the animation, but it's the simplify strategy. Find high demand areas local to you. We've done that. We've found those high demand areas. Right? We've found a high demand area in Manchester, and we've also can look for high ROI gain property listings. That takes a bit more time. You'd probably want to play about it. You'd be surprised by those areas where there is significant high gain. And then you've optimized your search. 1 hour sourcing strategy. In an hour today, I've set my sourcing strategy up across the UK. All I now need to do is just review that once a month or once a week. Add some in, take some out. It's very, very simple. But I don't never have to worry about missing out on an opportunity ever again. That 1 hour sourcing strategy is so important because if you're wasting your time trying to find things, and not doing a whole lot, not getting everything, you are really going to find it really, really hard when it comes to actually then doing the really heavy lifting stuff like doing planning applications, doing building control, doing just finding tenants. Yeah, they're all very complex and very time consuming things. You've got to minimize the amount of time that you're spending on finding this opportunity. So search optimization, that third point, really, really important. Now, just before we finish up this session, and I'll again rather unprofessionally zip through my slides, I'll just remind you that all that I've shown you today, everything that I've shown you, and there's loads more besides, is available to you on Ultimate Property Dashboard. I know some of you might have tried it in the past. It's developed an awful lot since you may have tried it last, or you may not have understood it. Hopefully, this video shows you how easy it is to set up a sourcing strategy, not just in terms of finding properties, but also finding areas and locations and property types that work best. Now, if you want to give this a whirl for 14 days, you can. And again, as I said a moment ago, at the moment, we're doing 50% off. And that's if you subscribe for a year or if you subscribe on a monthly basis. By the way, you can sign up for a year and pay monthly. Okay. So you'll have to subscribe for a year, but you can pay it monthly. It's really, really cost effective to do that. It's less than a couple of pounds a day, I think. It's cost of a cup of coffee. Yeah, so really, really cheap. You always use the gold level subscription. The gold one's the one you want. Silver's really basic, and it's not much cheaper. So I would suggest that you try out gold, and certainly for your trial, try the gold membership. Okay, we've made huge changes to the software. For those of you that may have looked at it in the past, it's all part of our fusion strategy. So we've got commercial in there. We've got complex strategies, we've got deal stacking, and I haven't even shown you the diary management, the sourcing management, the portfolio management tools that are also available in the software. So if you like what you've seen today, please do take the opportunity that's in front of you right now and sign up for a trial of Ultimate Property Dashboard, upd.ai, or you can zap that QR code. Okay, so quite a lot that I have covered off this evening. I can see some of the comments. I'm afraid I've got too many messages to cover off all of them. Some people asking if I can check out some postcodes for them. No, sorry, you got to do it yourselves. Log into the software and try it out for yourself. You can check as many. There's no limit. There's no credits like on other software. There's no limits. If you've got the gold subscription, you can do as many as you like. You can do the whole UK if you want to. And in fact, there's a quite easy way to do that. I might actually show you because we've got a bit of time left at the end. Someone is saying they've already got a free trial. Can they have another? No. If you've got a free trial and you've used it up, what I would suggest you do, because I've got to keep it fair, otherwise people just keep on adding free trials. What I would suggest you do, sign up for the 1 month, and then if you like it after a month, or if you've done the 1 month subscription and you want to go for a 12-month one, drop us a message and we'll get you converted so you don't pay any more, okay? But what we don't want to have is just loads of people sign up for a 14-day trial and leave and then coming back again. So thank you for the question, and I hope you understand why we've got to sort of police it that way. Believe it or not, there are technologies out there that are trying to steal a lot of the insight that's in this software. So we have to be very secure. We have to be very firm on access, which doesn't suit everyone, but the thing that it doesn't suit most is those bots that try and copy and replicate what we've done. A few good comments there. Thank you. Yeah, it is a question about, is it on YouTube? Yeah, this will be posted on my YouTube channel. So just search for John Penquet on YouTube and it'll be listed on YouTube. A couple of you are saying that you've subscribed in the past and want to be a subscriber again. Please do. Yeah, get yourself set back up. You don't need to contact us. Just register again or put your details in again, and you can set yourself back up with a with a subscription. And a couple of people asking questions around end values. Yeah, and that's a really good point. Actually, let me see if I can just go back to that. What's the potential end value of a property? Personally, I tend to do is I will, if I've already put it into Deal Stacker and that Glamorgan Street property there, I click on View, and obviously it needs a bit of work. I would go to Market Insights and I'd look at what an end of terrace property could potentially be worth. Normally, about the average asking price is where I target my end value at. So 170, 173. You can do more of a deep dive to try and find out. So you can look at properties within a quarter of a mile that have sold recently. So you've got your comparables here. These are the sort of things that your valuer would use to try and get estimates on values. And then you should have here just any properties that have sold recently as well. If you need to go even further than that, like I said a moment ago in the session, go to area research and do your big report. Yeah, so you could you can go to area report and you can see specifically what prices are right now in different locations, and also get an idea of what sort of condition they're in by looking at the listings. So I hope that helps. One thing that I forgot to mention, because we've got a couple of minutes left before I go, is you might not know where to invest in the UK. I'll go anywhere, John. I don't really mind. I'm trying to find or identify a location that I can invest in. Back to area research. Now, in this session, I showed you heat maps because I like that visual view. But I did mention to you, didn't I, that you can also search for areas using a table. So this is fabulous because this is every bit of data for every postcode in the UK. Let's say that you're just looking to do a two-bedroom property. You're looking for make it a three-bedroom property. All right. And you don't want to be in areas where properties are selling for in excess of 200,000. So you want to be in a reasonably low cost area. All right. Let's say that you want those areas that have got good yields. So, as a general rule of thumb, 6% yield, notional yield areas are pretty good. You normally find that they'll meet mortgage stress tests. But let's be greedy. Let's go for 7. Minimum yield of 7% in there. And I mentioned demand earlier, 10% or more is above the national average. Let's be greedy. All those areas with more than 20% demand. And let's go one step further again. Let's what should we put in next? Should we put in household income? Let's only invest in those locations where people earn on average more than 35,000, so more than the national average household income. And do you know what? Let's cut out areas where there's only a couple of houses listed. All right, so we don't want those areas with just one property because that's not really going to give us good data. We'll have at least 5 listings in an area. All right, and we'll run that search, and that should check the entire UK. Oh, what have I done wrong there? Less than 200,000, 3 bedrooms, 7%. Household income. What have I done wrong there? So, isn't it? 250,000 maybe. Maybe I was a bit cheap on the pricing. Let's try that. There you go. So there are 6 postcodes that match that criteria. Okay, and you can see them on a map. So you can move to a map. We've got to select them first. Come on, John. Schoolboy error. So you can check in and across the UK where these locations are. Interestingly, they're all in the northwest, and quite a few of them in Leeds. There you go. Look, there's a couple there, and there's you can click on them and it'll tell you what the situation is for each of them. All right, so really quick. We can do it for HMOs as well, by the way, folks. A lot of you like to invest in HMOs and aren't sure where to invest in HMOs. So we'll just reset that chart for a second, or that table for a second. Show HMO. And I want, I'm not going to put any number of bedrooms in. I can only pay up to £300,000 for my HMO. Now, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that. I'll explain why I'm not going to do that in a moment. But I want HMOs that yield at least 10%, that I've got at least 20% demand, and I don't want to be in those really, really sort of high crime, low income areas. So I'm going to put the average household income minimum I'm going to put it at 28,000. So a bit lower than the national average, but not down at sort of 21, 22. Run that report. There we go. So we've got all those HMOs, all those different HMOs in this area. Now, what we do with this technology is we don't work out the price of an HMO. We work because there's all different sizes of HMOs, all different numbers of bedrooms. So divide the price of the HMO by the number of bedrooms to get an approximate cost per bedroom. Yeah. So you multiply that cost, whatever that average asking price is, by the number of bedrooms to work out the cost of an HMO. All right. So we've done that. For me, I want stuff that's less than 50,000 per bedroom, the cheaper HMOs. Search. There we are. There's 89 postcode locations in the UK. Want to know where they are on a map? Click on the, done it again, select them all, and then show the selection on the map. And there we are. We've got a nice little dynamic map showing all the different locations where you can do HMO in the UK. Swansea, Cardiff, some places in the southwest. Not an awful lot for less than £50,000 a bedroom in the southeast, but plenty in the Midlands, plenty up in the northwest and the northeast. Goodness me, there's loads, isn't there? And again, if you're interested in any of these locations, I haven't looked at DN21. It's a bit out on a limb there. How much is it? There you go, £31,000 per bedroom. So a 6-bed HMO would be around about £185,000. So very, very quickly I can get inside. Average room rents are good, 767. By the way, all the average room rents for HMOs include bills in this technology. All right, so very quickly you can find those locations where no one else may be looking. I don't know how many people are investing in HMOs in Wrexham. If you're not, there's some opportunity there, perhaps. Up Barrow-in-Furness, don't know if people invest in HMOs as well. There's opportunity there. So you can go all over the UK, really, and look at different locations. And again, if you like that area, add it to area research. Exactly the same process as we did before. You can start your search from there. You can look for properties. You can add it to your shortlist. And get insight into what's going on in that location. So again, just to prove the point, back to area research. There is LA14, and we can see there we've got HMO data. All of them sell. Every HMO that was listed for sale sold. Rents are a bit iffy though, so there's a bit of a rushed view that one, but minus 11.7%. Okay, and again, we just need to change the chart so it shows us HMOs and refresh it. Off it goes, and it should. There you go, there's our performance of HMOs there. All right, so really quick, nice and easy for us to review. All right, folks, I hope that was helpful for everybody. I'm going to minimize this down now. Go back to the QR code and the URL. So there's the QR code and there is the URL. So simple. I'm not even going to put it into chat or comments. upd.ai. That's all you need. All right, 50% off. It starts for a monthly subscription. You can get it for under £40, which is significantly cheaper than other software out there at the moment. So do give that your consideration. One last check of any messages that we got. Is it good for rent service accommodation? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, all that is built in, so you can find rental properties using property search. You can find areas where SA works. You can find existing SA properties and make offers on them. You can stack them up. You can stack your deals as SAs. So there's plenty of capability. A couple of direct messages. Some of them are a bit more complicated. I won't be able to answer them all. So I do apologise for not being able to pick up all of your messages. If any of you do want a message, again, just as a reminder, on the system, on the software even, we'll go back to the software. Let me just find it. There we go. Any question at all, log in as a subscriber, click on the button, send us a message. All right. It's a free service. You don't pay for each message. You can ask as many as you like. We want to help you. If you're a subscriber to UPD, you get this support. And if the team can't answer them, they come back to me. All right. So you'll always get as much support as we can possibly give if you use that process. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on this session. I hope it helped to explain exactly what this weird technology and data thing is all about. It's about saving you time. It's about making things simpler. And it's about speeding up everything that you do, ultimately to ensure that you're more profitable. If any of you have got any questions at all, if you want any more support, you will have all been invited to this if you joined us through Eventbrite. You can also put comments if you're watching this stream live on YouTube or you're watching it on the socials. You can comment on there. You can email us. You can message us. But what I would encourage you all to do right now, not tomorrow, not next week. Start now with your membership. Go to upd.ai, start now. The longer you leave it, the more likely you are to miss out on that deal that is going to absolutely change your life and the lives of others that you work with and you live with and you care about. Please don't miss out. Please don't make your life more difficult. Make it simple. Follow our processes and do it for UPD. Hope that was helpful. I've run a little bit over time. Thank you for your time this afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Take care, everybody, and bye for now.